Beautiful day. Haven't done a video in a while. Just about to go home and visit. So I just take a real quick one, have a look around. Let's explain what you're seeing briefly, and maybe some of the things that are fruiting right now. Let's have a look. Repeating myself for people to know, but anyone doesn't. This is a food forest. It's a designed food forest using permaculture principles. Simplest way I can explain permaculture, if you've heard the term or if you haven't heard the term, as far as the food end of it, the way we do our landscapes, we'll be mimicking the edge of a forest. That forest turns green from the bottom to the top, starting with small bushes, shrubs, and ground covers up to the tops of the taller trees, the nut trees here. Every year it does that without any help from us. We don't transplant anything, we don't water anything, we don't seed anything, we don't mulch anything. So by mimicking that in our yards, we can get the most output for the minimum input. So below me here is what we call Zone 1, kind of a traditional garden, traditional annual garden, with some perennials mixed in. So we grow tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, lettuce, stuff like that we eat every day, and the herb spiral over here. Down below that is more long-term annuals, with winter squash, corn, beans, garlic, onions, stuff like that. But you also notice a lot of bushes and trees mixed in. As that starts maturing, we'll need less and less annuals as the fruits, nuts, and berries give us more production. You see the bird down there eating the berries right now. Some blackberries. If you can make them out or not. But we'll talk about that while he's there flying across the yard. He's there eating a few excess berries, but he's also getting rid of any bugs that are eating on that plant at the same time, helping with pest control. Probably taking a dump before he leaves, lightening his load, leaving that nutrient behind. So the food forest part of it, and the bottom part of the annual is planted like that to mimic nature. It has edible ground covers around the bottom, flowers and plants to call in the beneficial insects, the pollinating birds and insects. There's stuff like comfrey, which is this big green plant here in the middle, plant all over the place. Has a very deep taproot, and that taproot goes down, accesses those minerals and nutrients deep down that these shallow rooted plants can't access. I chop and drop that in place or compost it, and then spread that compost on the garden beds for the other plants. There's also ground covers and shrubs and bushes, we'll have a look when we go down, that are fixing nitrogen out of the air and storing it in the roots for the plants around them. There's a hummingbird. He's right here. I forget, I'll make him out right behind those red plants. No idea if I'm getting him. Bye-bye. We didn't butcher that camera work too bad. Where was I? So, in these guilds, with those dynamic accumulators, like comfrey, and the nitrogen fixers, like clover and Austrian winter pea, the ground cover ones, and bushes like gummy berries and silverberries and autumn olives. We'll have a look at all those when we go down, to fix nitrogen. And the key species in the middle will be an apple, a pear, a fig, and maybe some other berries are on the bottom, some vining bushes, sometimes peas or beans or grapes. There's also blackberries or raspberries, gummy berries, josta berries, currants, all mixed in amongst it. Okay, I've been rambling long enough. Let's go down and have a short look. So now this is the Zone 1. This is where we walk every day. We're just there where Angel is. We come in here, let the ducks and the chickens out. Maybe dump the compost and stir it. We have a hot compost, red wiggler compost. The ducks and chickens live in here. Chickens up top over there. And ducks down below. This is the aquaponics. See if we can get a fish to come up for you. Tilapia are being shy, we'll feed them. So tilapia, and that runs the system. This is a closed loop system. Not much going but water lettuce right now. Do more with it in the winter time, some strawberries. But it pumps from here into that tank, flows through the system. There's a bacteria that colonizes the rocks that consumes the ammonia buildup and turns it into nitrogen for the plants. There's also a red wiggler in there, a worm that eats the excess roots. And the waste from that is red wiggler, is black gold. Earthworm castings. Stumbling on my words there. There's a peach tree and a fig tree and amaranth and Tulsi basil. I'm not going to name too much, I'll get too caught up in it. We'll just have a walk through, maybe look at one of the guilds. It's an Asian pear there in front of us, another apple, another fig. Lots of berries everywhere, red raspberries, black raspberries, yellow raspberries, blackberries, boysenberries, strawberry ground covers, lots of different kinds of mint, lots of amaranth, Jerusalem artichokes, tomatoes coming ready. So that was the Zone 1 annual garden, everyday stuff. Getting into Zone 2 here, long-term annuals mixed in with perennials. You can see the pears on that tree there, some cherries on the one behind it. This apple tree here, look at there's apples scattered throughout this, is the key species in this guild. The succulents, succulents here. Oh, I'm just drawing a blank for all the different flowers that are in here, and the horseradish. There's always something blooming, some catnip in there. So there's always something to bring in the pollinators, some bee balm just finishing off in the back. But this also has the goomyberry nitrogen fixing bush and the Austrian winter pea here, or I'm sorry, the autumn olive. These are actually a berry, not an olive. That's a nitrogen fixer. Goomyberry or gooseberries on this side, Josta berries on this side, Nanking cherries, grapes. See some yellow raspberries there. I'm going to keep this brief. Maybe just walk down some pond in the tiny house and call it a wrap. Put different kinds of mint, spearmint and peppermint, and chocolate mint, and blueberries, raspberries, there's some blackberries. You guys can have a look, I'll have a taste. Wasn't quite tickle ready. Tart. It's our lower pond, the main duck pond. They're in this a lot, so it gets a lot of waste, a lot of nutrient buildup. We'll overcome that by putting an intake on the top. And it gets that clean water from the top into a 55-gallon drum that's buried here. And that gets pumped back to the top of the pond, the top of the waterfall, aerated as it comes back down. Twice a year I agitate this water to get the nutrients suspended in it, and I pump that up into the garden beds. This is our tiny house. Cousin Sham's living here, he helped us build this. Took some of the old wood from my furniture business, furniture shop, the old fencing, the old bamboo, some metal roofing, some stuff from Habitat, mirrors from Habitat, tiny little kitchen. Video's probably not doing it justice, but it's real cute, real homey. Super cool. Even on a hot day like today, it's nice in here. And the view is to die for. Alright, what else do we want to look at? So-chan starting to flower, the yellow flowers. Rosa Sharon. Saw some butterflies in the butterfly bush. Maybe we can find a hummingbird moth too. Okay, so this is our food forest. Accomplishing quite a few things at once. Growing our food in a different way. Getting away from the more intense annual gardening, where you have to do the starts every year and the transplants and the timing of everything, which I'm not real good at. Just watching all the insects and bugs in the butterfly bush. And moving towards the fruits, nuts, and berries and edible ground covers. In the process of doing that, we're creating maximum output with minimum input. But we're also creating a large diversity of life, as you can hear all around me right now. It's good timing, birds. I asked them to do that. Oh, there's a hummingbird moth too. Great timing. So I bring all this in here. Plants, animal, fungi working in a symbiotic relationship. We're able to feed ourselves with less effort, get rid of the intense lawns, eat fresh, tasty fruit, nuts, and berries all the time. We also got to think of the functions of a tree and of all this living plants here. This photosynthesis going on. That pear tree can store 80% of its weight in water. It's creating a microclimate underneath it in the shade there, producing food for us and all the animals around it. It's giving off oxygen for us to breathe. It's creating organic matter to build the soil around it and feed the insect life. And biggest of all at this point in the game, it's sequestering CO2 for us in its root system. Okay, I guess that's long enough. Oh, the dragonfly just buzzed us. See ya.